Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott Siegel, Senior Manager with Calypso, and along with Brian Pfeiffer, Director of Consumer Goods from Sophion, we'd like to welcome you to the first installment of the Consumer Goods Innovation Exchange Series. Brian and I have been working together for the past 8 years, helping companies, oftentimes side by side at the same client, implement and optimize their innovation, MPD, and portfolio processes. Based on these shared experiences together, we're very excited to kick off this series today with two of our consumer packaged goods colleagues, Tim Beattie, Director of R&D Innovation Process from the J.M. Smucker Company, and Brian Vogt, Global Process Owner on the Corporate Innovation Team from Kimberly-Clark. As a brief introduction, my company, Calypso, is a global strategic innovation consulting firm exclusively focused on innovation, product development, and product lifecycle management. We help clients like J.M. Smucker and Kimberly-Clark build the capabilities they need to become leading innovators in their industries.
Thanks, Scott. This is Brian Pfeiffer, and as a brief introduction to Sophion, we are a global publicly traded firm providing automated solutions for enterprise innovation performance. These solutions enable our clients to focus their resources on fewer, bigger, and better innovation investments, creating sustainable, profitable revenue growth. And just one side note today for those tweeters out there, we will be live tweeting this event as well with the hashtag InnovX, INNOVX.
The Consumer Goods Innovation Exchange is a recurring roundtable series of 3 web events occurring this spring in March, April, and May that will feature knowledge sharing, anecdotes, and discussion from a variety of leading consumer packaged goods organizations. We kicked off the series actually this morning with an earlier session with Jim Boucher from PepsiCo and Barbara Byrne from Kimberly-Clark. So we're continuing the conversation this afternoon with Tim and Brian. Calypso and Sophion have teamed up with innovation leaders from several CPG companies to share with you their real-life experiences, challenges, and the successes they have encountered while leading the innovation processes and cross-functional teams at their organizations. Our vision for this series is that we can present firsthand experiences, but then from there, more importantly, through the series, foster a dialogue and a shared learning environment that will bring you insight into real solutions taken by your consumer goods peers. Many of you on this call face exactly the same external market and internal adoption and execution innovation issues. It is our hope that many of the solutions and ideas discussed today can be applied directly in your organizations. Today's session is focused on innovation process effectiveness and how to overcome challenges in the execution and adoption of new product development processes. Part 2 of the series will be held in April, focusing on making innovation global, and then finally in May, we'll wrap up with an engaging 3rd session on improving decision-making in gate meetings. A second goal we have for the series is for it to become somewhat of a virtual community of consumer packaged goods peers and have the conversation build and continue with many of the same audience participants and reference previous sessions discussion, so we do hope that you will join us in April and May as well. The idea for the Consumer Goods Innovation Exchange came from a series of discussions and realizations that Brian and I had from what we were seeing with our colleagues in the market. First, it was clear from sitting in numerous meetings and having discussions that time and time again, we were continually hearing the same challenges and experiences related to the consumer packaged goods market. Whether it was store brand competition, last-minute changes from retailers or internal sales teams, or just the old Walmart being Walmart, it was clear that the issues and challenges were not unique to any single company. Anyone and everyone charged with delivering innovation and new products in the CPG industry was seeing a lot of the same things and dealing with similar issues internally with regards to the new product development process and people. Secondly, it became pretty apparent that every company, whether they were big or small, global, local in scope, upstarts or established, it really didn't matter. Everyone had a well-defined and documented new product development stage gate process. Most likely they had variations and perhaps different criteria based on the type of project, but regardless, in this day and age, in 2014, most everyone has achieved a certain level of maturity that includes a documented new product development process. However, it's the adoption and execution of this process was where most were failing. And this here became the genesis for today's webinar. The problem process owners like yourself were facing was not with the actual process, it was with the way people were managing, adopting, or using the tools and process that they had been provided.
One of the things just to emphasize in terms of the structure of the session today is that we want to have it be as interactive as possible. And so we've actually asked for your questions in advance of the session, and also there's a questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen where you can ask additional questions if desired. There's one survey question that we asked in advance of the session was just trying to get a sense of how well-defined people's innovation, new product development processes are today. And as you can see with these results, really only about a quarter of the audience have a process that is well-defined and adopted, and the rest are either adhered to loosely or just broadly defined and lacking specifics, or still just in the early stage of defining the process at all. And I'll turn it over to Scott here to introduce our presenters, and we'll get on with the presentation.
Thanks, Brian. First, we have Tim Beattie from the J.M. Smucker Company. Tim's Director of R&D Innovation Process for the Consumer Business Unit. Tim is an operations management expert with extensive experience managing new product development teams and new product portfolio process. For the past 6 years, Tim has led innovation process management at J.M. Smucker, and prior to this, he was in a similar role at Procter & Gamble for 11 years. Tim began his career at Ralston Purina, where he was operations management for 18 years. Secondly, we have Brian Vogt from Kimberly-Clark. Brian is a global process owner on the corporate innovation team at Kimberly-Clark, where he champions e-tool capabilities in support of the phase gate and portfolio management process for the enterprise. He is also global process owner for product and equipment specification standardization. Brian has 20 years of experience at Kimberly-Clark with various roles in consumer research and engineering, global expansion projects, advanced process development, lean and plant operations. So again, we thank Tim and Brian very much for joining us today. And Tim, I will let you take it away.